It is a glorious day. Oh my gosh, it's well over 55 and it's only April 2nd here in Southeast Michigan. And the crazy thing is the 10-day forecast is in the 50s and 60s, which is completely abnormal for us. Cameron, I'm filming. Go back. Go.
Hey guys.
Anyway, I was kind of hopeful. It's been about 5 to 8 days, somewhere in there, since I planted the peas and everything, and I was kind of hopeful that I'd come out here today and I'd see something, but not yet. But what I'm hopeful for is, since we're gonna have just straight on sun over the next couple days, something's gonna pop out of the ground. There's a lot of things I haven't shown you guys yet though, so let me just take you around and get you up to speed on everything that I've got planted so far. Okay, so this bed here is going to have my tomatoes, collards, cabbage, and some fun herbs maybe mixed in, like fennel and maybe some dill and some borage. So I went ahead and planted out the cabbage. Now I have to grow my cabbage from seed this year. I'm a little nervous about that because I always get my cabbage from starts. I don't have an indoor grow setup at my home, so I usually depend on starts for hardy crops. But we're gonna see what we can accomplish with that. So I've got red cabbage and green cabbage alternating down this row. And in this row, I have planted the collard greens. And every other square foot space, and a tomato will go in between those. Then I'll have just my pathway down the middle for harvesting. Okay, maybe you can tell that I walked all down the middle of this one. I got a lot done in this bed. This was my new bed last year that I talked about in the last video why I was amending the beds the way that I did. So I'm super excited to see what happens here this year. The first square foot is potatoes. I did have enough leftover potatoes from last year that sprouted well. I only had Kennebecks left, so it's only Kennebecks. And then I have 3 rows of salad greens. I'm growing iceberg for the first time. That's gonna be fun. Butter crunch, leaf lettuce, and a mixed salad green. So it goes iceberg, butter crunch, mixed salad green. Now I think I did share these 2 beds with you and nothing's changed here, but something today might change. I might experiment. So this is my peas and my beets. The pathways down the middle here. Huh. Somebody dropped a corn kernel. Squirrels probably. The back row is going to be bush beans. And I understand that the soil temperature for bush beans needs to be above 48. So we're gonna experiment today. I'm gonna show you a tool that I have to measure soil temperature. And I might just plant 1 per square foot and just see if it germinates okay. And if it does, then I'll finish out the planting of my bush beans. Okay, now we're all the way back at my back bed, and you can see the garlic is coming up great. Phenomenal, actually. New ones are popping up out of the ground. And the back row of this bed is going to be more tomatoes. So I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do in this corner and the front corner up there. I'm sure one of them's going to be zucchini, and I still need to find exactly where I'm going to grow my cucumbers this year. So I haven't decided that. You're gonna see cardboard laid out. I am starting to get cardboard down for fresh wood chips, because I do have some weed pressure coming up in my pathways that I don't want. Just walked by, I had poppies in here last year, guys, and my poppies are coming back. That's exciting. Can you see this little green here? There's a little green there. Those are definitely poppies. That's exciting. I wondered if they would self-seed themselves, and it looks like they have. And in a couple of the other flower box planters, I had borage too, and I'm hoping that the borage is going to reseed itself as well. You can just see the tips of this. This is oddly a sage plant that I'm going to just trim it back because it is regrowing, which is amazing. Like, I'm gonna just pull one of the baby leaves off. There's a baby sage leaf regrowing from the bottom. So I'm probably just gonna trim him back. And my onions are doing phenomenal. First couple days, I think it was birds or squirrels or something. I would come out here and they would be almost like turned upside down. Like something plucked them out of the ground and decided that doesn't taste good and tried to replant it for me, but they did it upside down. So I've been out here just babying them a little bit. And the last thing I want to share with you is my sorrel. I think I knew when I planted sorrel could act as a perennial. Even though in my gardener's package says it's an annual, it has certainly acted and been a perennial for me. I planted it my very first year here, and it comes back every single year. And it gets really, really big, so I can't plant anything. Like, these onions are actually probably way too close. I should probably go ahead and move those. But if you've never had sorrel, I absolutely love it. It doesn't get overly bitter in the summer, and it is wonderfully lemon flavor. It is super lovely in salads. I just love it. So, little snack early in the spring. Okay, so I got my seed box. Let's see what we can plant. I pulled out everything that I want to plant, and I usually end up getting tired halfway. I'm always overambitious what I actually can accomplish. So I bought some white bunching onions. I still haven't gotten my broccoli rabe in. I want to do that. Cilantro. The borage. I don't think I can plant can I plant my morning glories yet? It says after danger of frost. I might try a couple and see how they go. Bachelor's buttons. I'll put some of these in my flower boxes. Kale. It is the Premier Kale, which I prefer this kale for freezing. I wash it and I'll lay it between sheets of paper towel and Ziploc bag it, and it is like you can just crumble the bag and shake it in your foods when it comes time to cook. I love that. And then all of my carrots. I'm going to be growing a lot. When I say a lot, Cameron did the math for me earlier today. I have 6 raised beds that my onions are going down the sides, and those 6 raised beds are getting filled with nothing but carrots. Why? If you didn't catch one of my first videos about our garden plan this year, it is a complete staples garden. It is the things that we eat. If we had to eat it every single meal, we would. Onions, carrots, peas, beans, spinach. Now cabbage and collards, probably not every meal, but once a week, yep. And potatoes, probably once a week. So zucchini, we could eat that a couple times a week. Guys, I just made the most wonderful meal the other night. It was like an Alfredo pasta, and I threw in a bag of my thawed, it had been frozen, shredded zucchini and some of my frozen kale in it. We loved it. It was so good. So anyway, I at least need to get my carrots done 100%, and we'll see what we get done from there. So I'll take you through the carrot planting. I'm not sure if Todd's gonna get to mulching the garden at all because it is still wet and we want to use the tractor to probably bucket the wood chips back here. But the grass pressure is coming in pretty heavily right now, so let's get to planting these carrots though. Oh, if I didn't tell you the variety, my go-to variety is Danvers all the way. I have grown a couple other varieties. Nothing stores better for me when it comes to canning than Danvers. You're gonna find that some carrot varieties, after you've canned them, you can hardly reheat them because they just turn to mush. So Danvers don't do that. Put those away. I did want to show you this tool. I don't necessarily need it for planting carrots, but it's a soil gauge temperature. If you didn't know, these things do exist, and it's handy dandy because it tells you what temperature things need to be for planting. Carrots, oddly, is not on here. But what did I care about my beans? Beans isn't on here either. But let's just see what it says. We'll stick it in there. Okay, I gotta show you. So the soil temperature, I don't know if that's is a reflection too much. It's well over 65 degrees. And I have it stuck. I went 1 inch and then I went 2 inches. So again, your soil temperature counts for seed germination. So at this point, according to this, I could plant cantaloupe and pumpkin. I'm not gonna do that because I could still get a frost and a freeze, and I wouldn't want those plants to be damaged as young seedlings. So we are going to get our carrots planted here. If I remember right, I think carrots only care if, don't quote me on this, look it up. I think soil temperature just has to be 45 degrees for germination. Now this compost that I got brought in has quite a bit of organic material still in it, like stick bits, which makes it challenging for planting carrots, but they make great tools for marking rows. I've used it many, many times. But since I know a lot of you guys enjoyed watching me plant with the square foot gardening template, I'm gonna go ahead and do that today. Carrot spacing, you want 3 inches or so apart. I do them a little closer though, I'm gonna be honest. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do red, blue, red, yellow, red, red, blue, and kind of like that kind of spacing, just to maximize the amount of carrots I can get. And I will tell you, good luck to you if you can plant 1 carrot seed at a time. You get all the props from me because those little babies are teeny tiny. Hey, somebody's coming.
Hi friends.
Why do you have a light on in the middle of the day?
I have a light on. I'm working on fixing our silcock on the side of our house where our hose comes out. We basically have one, and it is it's junk. It's past its due replacement cycle. The gaskets in it are all shot. It leaks. And I had to go down in the basement and remove some insulation, and that's why I have a light on.
And I'm going to need a hose to water my garden soon. Did you hear that?
How's it going out here?
Just getting started. I just gave him an update about what I've gotten planted so far, what's growing. I found poppies.
What's your soil temperature?
65 degrees.
No.
It is. I'm not even joking. I showed him. I'm going to not plant though like it's 65 degrees because that would just be silly.
That sounds inaccurate, but I'll believe you.
You guys saw it. I wasn't kidding.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to my project.
All right. Okay, I just got all my holes dropped in for carrots. I'm gonna show you if, I don't know how well it's gonna come up on the video because carrot seeds are pretty tiny. Okay, so hole, 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 hole. You don't have to go very deep for carrots. So that's kind of like the spacing I like. I don't know if you guys can see that as I'm touching them. Because you gotta think, a carrot's probably gonna be like that. And I like to very, very intensely plant my carrots so I can get the most out of the spacing I have. Anyway, I think we estimated about 3,200 carrots when we counted out the space that I have. Oh gosh, my carrot seeds are flying away. And I know that sounds like a lot, and I wish I could remember exactly when I planted my, or canned my carrots, it's so good to keep record of things. And while I try to, sometimes there are things like, oh, I wish I would have kept a record on that. And if I remember right, maybe it averaged me like 10 homegrown carrots for a quart of canned carrots. It's things like that that you want to think about when you're trying to figure out how many carrots do you really need to grow. And while I am doing 1 seed per hole, I know a lot of people recommend 2 or 3 carrot seeds per hole if you have the seed to spare, just so you can get, you know, a solid germination. I just don't have seed to spare, I guess I should say, and I hate thinning carrots. It's really not fun. So you don't have to like heavily cover these. Just enough dirt. I was watching somebody the other day and they recommend planting their carrot seeds like 3/4 of an inches deep, and I thought, oh geez, I definitely don't do that. Okay guys, well I'm certainly not going to bore you to death by planting 3,200 carrots. It's going to be a tedious task. It's going to take me time. So that's what I'm out here in the garden doing today. If I move on to something else, like my neck doesn't fall off before I get through with these carrots, I'll bring you guys back and fill you in on what I'm planting next. I just wanted to come back. It took me a long time. Oh, you guys are so crooked. It took me a long time to plant just this one bed. It's so tedious, but a joy. I wanted to let you know how many carrots I could fit. So 22 carrots per square foot, and I had 19 square feet. So that's over 400 carrots in this one bed. I just posted what I was doing on Facebook, and a friend of mine commented like, wowzer, that's a lot of carrots. And you guys have to remember, not every carrot is going to come up and be the perfect Bugs Bunny carrot. So keep that in mind when you are planting carrots, that you're going to get little snack size carrots. You're going to get big, nice carrots. You're going to get carrots that might have walking legs on them because you didn't get them thinned. So I have to figure like half of them are going to be canning worthy, and the other half are either going to be roasted carrots, shredded carrots for carrot cake muffins, or just eaten fresh as snack carrots throughout the summer. So sometimes you do have to plant more than you planned, either because you know you've got a pest problem, whether it's rabbits, deer, raccoon coming in. So always plant more than you want. My rule of thumb is I usually try to go double what I think I'm going to need, just so I make sure I get the yield I want. And if I have extra, I give it away. So yeah, that's my tip for the day. Plant way more than you think you need, and then you might just get what you want.